Moviesucktastic is a podcast about bad movies and the people that love them. But it's more than just a podcast, it's also an online presence. If you want to know more about Moviesucktastic or want to become a part of Moviesucktastic, you can find us on Facebook, you can find us on Twitter at Moviesucktastic, you can find our blog at boothreviews.blogspot.com, or if you want to give your own reviews that we might use on the show, you can go to reviews.moviesucktastic.com and check out our own little lunch.com community for Moviesucktastic. Check us out and become a part of the show, because the only thing more fun than a bad movie is sharing it.
Why don't I have sound?
Are we good?
I don't have sound. And I don't know
of anything?
why.
Are we recording?
No, we're recording, but I don't have any sound.
Then I should stop talking. Or should I start? Is the songs done?
I'm showing the trailer, which I'm going to have to fix in post.
So we might or might not being heard right now.
No. Our voices are fine. We're broadcasting. But the trailer, for whatever reason... The trailer, for whatever reason, is not playing with sound.
Okay, so your music died.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Right. Okay, cool. I just didn't know if we're recording.
They actually used that shot in the trailer.
So we're actually in this. We're in the show now.
Yeah.
Okay, so we should actually say hello, welcome.
Well, I mean, I'm kind of
anything. I'm kind of a minute of like solid silence.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, I mean, you got me going, oh, well, I don't know why we don't have sound. I'm wondering if the intro was going to play with sound. Because if it's not, I'm just going to start the movie.
You'll fix it in post. Yeah, just start whatever. Yeah.
This is probably a sign that you will get flagged by Paramount from YouTube.
So is this the show now?
Here, let's see if we get sound on our intro. At least we can have that. No sound on the intro. I don't understand it.
We're broadcasting though, right?
Oh yeah.
Welcome to Moviesucktastic. Episode whatever. This is Scott. The one that's not as amused by this is Joey.
I don't understand.
Just slightly less amused.
Nothing changed. Nothing.
This is why we're leaving live stream. Yeah. Because it just takes too much hassle. So this is Moviesucktastic, the podcast of movie reviews, mostly bad films.
That's right.
As I said, I am Scott. The other voice is Joey.
Yo.
And this week we're reviewing a listener request.
Oh, Cool World. The Ralph Bakshi film Cool World. A film so bad it probably should have ruined more careers than just his own.
All right, I want to explain something here, just right off the bat.
Yeah.
There's a reason why I worked in a comic store for 4 years and was a rabid animation fan like anybody else in a comic store that I worked in for 4 years in the late 80s, early 90s, and I still have never seen this film.
Wow.
There's a reason why. Until this actual episode, I never had a cause or a care to watch this. Oh, and actually... There's another revelation. Can I share this right now before we get into the movie?
Yeah, go ahead.
I had a coworker over the past weekend, and he's a movie buff as you and I are. He listens to the show, and he had said, "We're going." For fun, we're sitting around. He's going into my Plex. That's like an evening.
Okay.
And going through, and he's just shouting off things at random. And he came to Batman and Robin.
Oh,
and I told him I've never seen it. He's like, "What?" said, no, I've seen the first 10 minutes. That's all I could take. So you never sat all the way through this. No. And I explained to him how there are certain films, like with you, when we watched the Hitcher remake.
Right.
I said, I can't do this alone. I need somebody. He said, well, I'm willing to do it again if you are. I'm willing to do it. So this past weekend, yes, I watched Batman and Robin.
Ooh. Oh.
And
that's 20 years coming.
20 years coming, and now I'm scarred for the rest of my shorter life. It's ridiculous.
Take 2 of these and call me in the morning.
Honestly, he's the best part of the whole film. I gotta say, everybody makes fun of him, and the big joke is Mr. Freeze. Him, he's the best character in this whole movie. He's actually the least shitty parts of this film were the parts that he was in it. Seriously, those are the best parts of the film. Everybody thinks they quote them because they're the worst. No, those are the best. Everything else is way, way worse.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's on my list now. I'm crossing off the bucket list.
I'm almost sad that you didn't watch it with me though. But it's cool. I'm happy you did finally.
Oh, that's okay. You and I are going to watch God's Not Dead 2 together. Or no, you still owe me all the Twilights.
Oh, do you really want to re-watch those?
I don't want to, but there's no reason why you haven't seen them. Oh, and also the fact that you haven't seen any of the
Which ones? Oh, the Paranormal Activities.
Wow, that's how on point we are. I didn't even say the name.
I saw the first one, and I've seen maybe 10% of the second one, maybe 10, 15 minutes.
So none. Or so you've only seen the first one.
I've seen the first one. And I watched the alternate ending, which I actually liked more than the Hollywood ending.
Joey, not only have I watched all of the Paranormal Activity films...
Well, you have them all on your Plex, too.
No, let me finish my sentence. Not only have I seen all of them, I've seen half of them in the fucking theater.
Wow.
You owe me. I'm looking at the wrong... You owe me. You really do. I was looking at the wrong camera.
Here, look at the wrong camera. You have more than one? How big of a production do you think this is? I'm looking at the live stream feed here, and it actually says anti-lag feature triggered. Okay. And then it said remove delay to the user.
What?
It said remove delay to the user.
What's that mean?
I think what it means is it's having a hard time recording the two of us, so whatever lag there is, it removed it. Possibly on your end because you've been out of sync a little lately.
Don't blame me for their fuck ups.
You're in perfect sync now. I'm not saying that. Listen, I'm saying is a different software probably wouldn't be doing any of this. Different software. You know what else I heard about the other software that we're probably going to, and it's not Ustream. It's something different, and if it works, it's going to be nice.
What have you heard?
I've heard that it does 720p or 1080p. You got to pay for 1080p, but we won't. We don't need it. But I hear the file size is very small.
That's great.
So not only, and the only reason why I'm interested in that is because the file size is small and it's still in HD, that means the compression ratio that it uses is very good with the software, and it'll use less memory and less CPU, less chance of a crash, which live stream is it's using 50% of the CPU right now.
Fuckers. Yeah, no. If you're listening to this is probably the last episode we'll do on live stream, God willing.
I know. Well, we've been talking about getting off of live stream for real, probably 2 years. I think this is for real this time.
But one, this isn't our full-time job. This is the thing we do for fun. And two, we've got real lives. So every time it comes up, it's but a quick look is there's nothing out there. Everything is costs money and shit, and we don't have that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the premium version of this software it's a one-time fee of $200. And I'm just I don't think so. And then it's a 3-year license for the standard one. Is
that the new one you found?
That's the new one I found.
$200 might be worth it.
If it's that good, I'd be willing to do it. But
all right, that's how bad our budget is. $200 it sounds reasonable. That's that's the equivalent of I got enough money to supersize that. That's what that is.
Well, you know what? If all these companies stop monetizing our stuff, then we might actually make some money doing this.
Whatever.
No. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
If we broke even, I'd be happy if we broke even.
And this has happened very recently. If you're listening to the show now and you're a listener that actually wants to listen more than whenever you turned it off, we've been going gangbusters on YouTube the past month. I highly recommend catching some of our videos on YouTube as they come out. We're averaging one every few days now because we're doing the backlog.
Yeah, I mean, there's about 90 episodes that we're doing in slideshow form because we've done 200 and this is episode 242. About 150 episodes are video. We've been doing video podcasting that long. But then the first 90 or so episodes were just a straight up podcast, no video at all. So in order to keep that YouTube web presence, we've been doing slideshows for those. And Scott has been working his butt off getting me slides for a lot of the episodes.
Because some of these older episodes, there's not if you this is The Borrower, for example.
Oh.
If you Google image The Borrower, you're going to get 9 photos, and 4 of those are the same movie poster.
Yeah.
So I actually watch the film, and I personally choose which frame I want to take a snapshot of, and I do about a couple hundred of those.
And
did that for Masters of the Universe, and I tell you, I love going back over these old episodes of ours.
I'm enjoying them too because I listen to pretty much almost the whole episode when I do the slides because sometimes
you have to.
Well,
you're doing the older episodes. I'm sorry, I talked over you.
Oh no! I'm sorry. In some of the older episodes, I have to sync up the slides a little, at least somewhat. Like I just posted episode 4 yesterday, and we talk about like 6 different movies.
Oh, that was the one with the Christian horror films? I listened to that today while I was working.
And the slides, I lined up the slides with all the films, and then there was even a part where we went off and did like a little tangent on Hannibal, and then we went back to a civil action for like 10 minutes.
Why? It's like I just did like an image scan through it when you posted it. I looked up and say, a civil action? We fucking reviewed that? I said, no, we just babbled about it for 20 minutes. And that was the cool thing. You and I, back in the old days, before we got like before our first like real structure of the show,
right?
You and I would review films that the other person hadn't seen.
That's right. That's how we did
that last episode. Yeah, that last episode, 2 out of the 3 reviews we did, kind of technically, if you count a civil action, 2 of the 3 of them we did not see together, or even both had seen. I had never seen the civil action, and Joey had never seen the first film we reviewed.
3.
3, right.
I did watch House, as you heard, if anyone that's listened to the episode. We were, a friend of ours and myself were trying to get you to watch it. It wasn't intentional. It was before we were actually doing the show, because that movie came out in 2008, and we didn't start doing this show until 2009.
Right.
So... But yeah, in the beginning, the early days, we had somewhat of a structure. We always did the movie challenge, which was nice. It wasn't until
we started doing it just out of whim, but it wasn't structured. And again, like until we got to the point where we started coordinating, saying, I think it took us a dozen episodes before we got to the point where, all right, we both have to watch the same thing. Let's come up with something.
I think it was episode 8 or 9 that we started. It was like Looker. And what was the other film we reviewed with
Joey?
Yeah.
We've got to get to the Looker Lab.
I've got to get to the Looker Lab. My favorite line in that episode, possibly one of my favorite lines ever in the history of Moviesucktastic, is how you say about Albert Finney, how he's like crawling on the ground, and he's like, and he is not very cat-like.
He's not like, he's not he's not the person you pick for like that kind of scene where the cat burglar's crawling under the wires and the ass sticks up in the air. That's not Albert Finney. No. He's the opposite of that.
Oh my God.
He's like to just run through screaming. That's Albert Finney. Come on.
Yeah. But
the episode you just posted where we reviewed House and 3,
episode 4, the Christian horror
and a civil action.
Yeah.
My favorite line is when you're talking about the inspiration of a civil action. You said, it's based on that. It was a terrible water pollution situation. and it's like I just like immediately snap in. Well, I've never heard of a good one.
I love that. I love it.
It's like I forgot. Obviously it's a small line. I forgot it, but it's like listening back. It's that one moment where wow, that even sounds scripted. How nice that was. That little feedback that you and I get to.
Oh my god,
I love that.
I've never heard of a good one. And because I was listening,
on, which is like I was instant and moved on.
I think I chuckled. I'm pretty sure I laughed at that. And just listening back, it's just. And then I went into that little, just like a mini little thing about Dark City and how it was fighting for its name.
Oh,
and
yeah,
different name changes, and I listened back to that, and I almost forgot about that.
The word world. We own the rights to the world.
Yeah, it's sorry.
We own world. You can't use world.
Yeah, it's like Lost City.
Lost? You can't use Lost.
No, our Jurassic Park 2 is called The Lost World. Sorry, you can't use that either.
Can't use the word lost.
Can't use lost. Can't use world. You can't use city because this is being released by New Line Cinema and Warner Brothers. Us own New Line Cinema, and we're making a film called Mad City. So sorry, you can't use it. Oh, our movie bombed. Okay, go ahead, call it Dark City.
What's funny is like you and I talk about this stuff because it's like we're hitting the point now with the podcast where we're talking about stuff we actually witnessed when it happened, and right now that's for some of our listeners that's like 20 years ago.
Oh yeah! Oh my God!
You know
sure, because Dark City is it's its 20th. It's in its 20th. No, I'm sorry. It's next year will be its 20th anniversary. But yeah, you're right. It's like 20 years.
Right. Well, I'm saying we're listening to our episodes from 2009, 2010, and I'm re-listening to them, and I'm thinking, someone like hearing that even back then might not know what we're talking about.
I mean, back then those movies were almost 10 years old.
Yeah, so it's just weird.
It is kind of weird.
Yeah, but let's go. But speaking of weird, we're reviewing a weird film this week.
Cool World, Ralph Bakshi film.
Now, is this playing in the background?
It is.
Oh, God damn you.
Well, I mean, this is one of those episodes where right now I have an appeal with Crocodile Dundee 2, which is made by Paramount.
Right.
They had a hard-on for the movie trailer, and this is one of those early episodes where we're playing the film like on an axis, so it's not the full screen like it is now. So, and I know we were talking about, it's like, hey, maybe if we did that, they would just kind of look past the flag. No, they don't care. They got
but some the trailer beforehand.
They flagged the trailer and they flagged the film because we do both.
Oh, they flagged the film too, even though it's like at a 45-degree angle.
Yes.
On half the screen.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
So they did that, and I'm like, son of a bitch. So they monetized the trailer, and they monetized like a clip that I have of Paul Hogan doing some sort of Australian commercial.
But they won't monetize the film?
They won't monetize the movie. So I had to dispute that, and then they said, no, sorry, we think our claim is valid, and then I had to appeal it. And right now we're in the appeal process. So if that goes through and they feel that they're still in the right, which, not to jinx us, has never happened. I've always appealed, and they've always let it through. Because I think at that time, someone
actually glances at it for 2 seconds.
Exactly. Right? Someone on their end actually takes a look at it and goes, oh, it's just two idiots talking for an hour and a half. It's like, yeah, this is fine.
Basically 25% of our YouTube comments.
Yeah. It's like, why don't you two shut the fuck up? Or what is that guy, Alejandro? Telling us the name of our own channel, our own podcast. Isn't your show called Moviesucktastic? It's like, yeah. Our mantra is just because you like it doesn't mean it doesn't suck. Come on, man.
I like the one today. Why don't you guys shut up so watch the film? And I didn't respond, but I just wanted to respond. No.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. You know what? This is what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
We're both going to shut up for 5 seconds and let him watch the movie.
No, I'm not. I'm not going to.
No. I'm not. No, the point. Okay, you're missing my joke. There's
I get the joke. I don't want to do it.
There's no sound.
Right.
So it's going to be, here's 5 seconds of no sound, dummy.
But then he'd follow up. We want the sound too. We want the film. We don't want you.
Okay.
So then you're watching the wrong video.
Yeah, sorry.
But I'm cool with that. You know, we have a lot of great people commenting on the shows. Everybody commenting on the shows that aren't like douchebags. Great. Keep it up. Please let us know what you want to see.
We've been getting a lot of traction lately. It's very it's refreshing. It's nice.
I gotta tell you, I feel like we're actually the past couple of weeks we've been getting a lot of requests from listeners.
Yep.
Even though we've earmarked the listener request thing for like a month or so, I say we go until like they cool down and they just want direction from us.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
We've gotten quite a few, and actually, honestly, 50% of the people that have requested stuff, more than 50%, I've been like, dude, that would have come up eventually anyway.
Yeah, right, exactly.
like Krull.
Krull.
Yeah. Three times in the past, I've almost challenged Krull. It's not like that's not
to be honest, when I saw it, I'm like, how have we not reviewed this yet?
Yeah, but some of the like Death Machines, that would have never come up. I don't think. If you and I were just going back and forth, I think it's a breath fresh, and I want to hear what our listeners want us to talk about.
I agree.
I'm definitely up for that.
I didn't plan on taking the video down off the YouTube page anyway. I planned on leaving it there.
So, I mean, for the meantime, I'm just going to say we have a brief hiatus on the challenges until at which point less people start requesting stuff and more people start saying we want challenges.
Right.
But cool with that. Yeah.
I think but when we do continue challenges again, whenever that is, I do need one from you for Death Wish 3.
Yeah, you'll get that.
Okay. I'm surprised I didn't forget it.
Well, but because we have a month or so coming up of listener requests, and the listener request this week is actually, was it JD? Person requested this.
Oh, Sammy J.
Sammy J, who we credited with last week's request until we got to the end of the show. And it's like, oh no, it wasn't Sammy J.
It wasn't the end, but it was close to it.
Yeah, and let's repeat that name, that listener's name again.
Sammy J.
No, the one we neglected to mention all last episode.
I think it was Ecoke San Carlos.
Yes. Ecoke, yeah. If we're hopefully we're pronouncing that correctly.
Ichuch.
Yeah, yeah. He's the one that had requested that we review Death Machines.
That's right.
And Sammy J is the reason why we watched this goddamn fucking cool.
Yeah,
world.
Thanks, Sammy. The fuck.
Yeah, I'm cool with it though. It's not one of the worst things we watched, but.
No, it's not.
It was. You know what? I gotta say, I didn't hate watching this film. I was just mostly confused.
Yeah.
Not by the film, by the decisions that led up to the film.
Yes.
Yeah, but if you want to, first,
and you know what?
I'm waiving the discussion over the title. Honestly, animated films, there's no need to discuss title.
No. And this is signature Bakshi too. I mean, you got elements of Fritz the Cat, and you got elements of American Pop, and you got elements of Coonskin. I mean, it's all here.
A little bit of Coonskin.
I mean, it's all here.
Yeah.
And he's done a bunch of other things too. The names elude me at the moment, but.
And I've got my feedback on that stuff too. But I mean, like for animated features, I don't know why, but for some reason they don't matter for animated cartoons.
What doesn't matter?
The title.
Oh yeah, it gives a shit.
So we're gonna pass that and go right to the film itself. If you want to give us a synopsis,
Yeah, sure. So you got Gabriel Byrne's character, who is what's his name? Not Frank. Is it Frank?
You don't even have the IMDb page up?
No, because the live stream will crash my computer if I do anything else.
Hold on, I'll refresh your memory.
I think Brad Pitt's character is Frank.
Now let's be fair. Let's be fair. Now this is a very unmemorable film.
Yeah.
Now I have never seen it, and I know that. But if I had seen it 20 years ago, I wouldn't have remembered anything from this until now, except the shit that was annoying, and it's not as much as you might think.
Yeah, I've never seen all of it all the way through. I've always seen like half.
Yeah. Now, in defense of things I'm going to say a little bit later on in this episode, I have seen other Bakshi films.
The Killing Joke shot from the Joker from the Killing Joke on that one wall, the comic book store that he goes to.
But I'm saying I have seen Bakshi films before this one.
Oh yeah.
So I'm very familiar with Bakshi, and I'm not a Bakshi hater. So I have a reference of what this film is based on. And so just keep that in mind later when I say things you might not like if you like this movie.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Just Bakshi's not bad, but I got my issues. Like Alan Moore. Same thing.
Yeah. So what's...
Gabriel Byrne's character is Jack Deebs.
That's right, Jack Deebs. And then Brad...
D-E-E-B-S.
D-E-B-S. And then D-E-E-B-S. And then Brad Pitt is Frank.
Detective Frank Harris.
Frank Harris. All right, so the basic plot is...
If you can call it that.
The movie starts out with Brad Pitt coming home from the war. Okay? He comes home to his mother, and there's a tiny little, like... you don't even see it, but there's this little scene where he takes his mother out, has her close her eyes, and he shows her a bike that he won in a card game. Because, this is...
You don't see it.
You don't see him win the bike in a card game.
Oh, I thought he bought it.
No, he says he won it in a card game.
Oh, okay, I forgot about that part. Anyway, go ahead.
So he takes her out, shows her, and she's like, "Oh my God, be careful, enjoy it, be careful." And he convinces her to go for a ride. And pan over to them, just out on the road, just riding on the bike, and then you just see, like, because this is Las Vegas, 1940s Las Vegas. There's like nothing out there but sand. And
unlike now.
Unlike now. So what you have is like these kind of little old style saloons that has like gambling tables in them, and the shot pan, right? Exactly. The shot pans over to these two people, who are obviously just had a great time. The guy, he's driving. He's obviously really fucking drunk, and they get in the car and they just go out on the road, and he smashes into Brad Pitt and his mother, kills the mother. Brad Pitt's all fucked up, and next shot pans over to this little scientist guy. Whiskers is his name. No,
it doesn't pan over. Let's get this straight, because I feel like you're glossing over something. This is the first solid 10 minutes of this film.
Yes.
For a solid 10 minutes, you're watching a film set in the 1950s. There's no allusion to anything else. You're actually almost into the point where you like the subconscious is like, all right, I guess we're watching a war film. I'm cool with that. Yeah, let's just sit back, relax. And then it just cuts all of a sudden to a cartoon image of a little scientist with a bald head and a mustache with a beam showing the scene. Like, this is like a scene after the mother died. This is a very emotional moment. Right. And this cuts to a cartoon. Well, that's weird. It shouldn't be working like that. Talk about downshifting.
Exactly.
That's you just downshifted from fourth gear into reverse. What the fuck?
So
I was disorientated for the first 10 minutes. Like, I know cartoons are coming up. But how are they going to ease into it? Oh, just like that. Okay. All right, I'm good.
So he brings Brad Pitt into Cool World, and Brad Pitt he's all fucked up. His mother died literally a minute earlier.
Now, can I say I thought there was going to be a subplot where, like, the driver killed him, and somehow we got revenge on him, because when they cut, like, when he first, like, accident happens, it doesn't look like he's injured. But then when they cut back and they show the mother, like, being taken away in the body bag, and he's lying on the ground, he's holding his stomach and he's going, "Arr, arr," and I'm like, was he shot? Did, like, the other driver shoot him? What happened here?
He's all scraped up and whatnot.
It was just a weird position it was in. It was acting like they were actually drawing attention to the fact that he had a stomach wound. And I thought that was setting up for something where you found out later that he was actually shot after the accident.
I wouldn't be surprised if they were maybe filming for that and they decided, no, we're not going to use any of it.
There were a lot of changes to the film. We'll talk about that after the film itself.
Oh, really? I didn't realize that there were that many changes.
Well, overall, we'll talk about that.
So now Brad Pitt, he's a detective / cop in Cool World. He's the guy keeping the peace. And there's a character. Her name is Hollywood.
Hollywood.
Yes, Hollywood if she could.
Holly.
And Jack Deebs, he starts seeing visions and starts drawing all these all these characters from Cool World, and he thinks it's his own invention, and he creates a comic book all from prison.
Right. Yeah. Well, I think we're skimming over a part. He started this comic before he was in prison, so there's this long history of him drawing this stuff. So it's almost like he's been either tuned into this reality or creating this reality, depending on how you read it, for like decades now.
Right.
And it's finally just coming to a head where there's like some kind of weird cross between the universes.
Oh, I didn't realize. I mean, I didn't realize he was drawing it before prison.
Well, look at it this way: when they show him, when he goes to the comic store after he gets out and buys comics, and the woman's talking to him, "Oh wow, we love you," and he go over, there's a whole rack of his stuff, and then the other guy comes out of nowhere, like, "Hey, why don't you write a comic about the guy you murdered?" You know,
for
the
sleeping
one you
with
caught
his
your wife with. And so I'm like assuming that he was this big comic book person before that happened, before he went to jail.
Oh,
when you show all these issues and like they're acting like he's like a well-known comic book person. So he's not like somebody obscure. Like he walks in, everybody in the comic store knows who he is. He's like an Alan Moore type guy. He's not just like 10 issues into this. He's been around for a decade at least.
Okay. Well,
that's my assumption.
Fine. So I thought you actually read that somewhere and you knew it as fact.
No, this is me as an intelligent viewer.
It's well, all right. So this is not going to make me look good in light of you, because I didn't take it that way. I took it that he got famous from drawing the comic from prison. Like he killed his wife's lover, went to prison, started having these visions, and started drawing in prison.
Yeah.
And got notoriety because he's a convict.
I can give you the reason why not. When he gets out of prison, he comes home to a house that has an art studio and all his artist supplies. He's got the contract tables.
Yeah, but they show people moving stuff into the house when he gets there. That like could have very well. No. Yeah, but they could have put that there.
No. It wasn't just the desk is up. It was arranged. There was stuff already on the walls. He's coming back to this. They were delivering a mattress. Let's be clear, a mattress.
Yeah, I get that. It was
after
a moving
5
van.
years, you want a new mattress, even if you know.
Especially if that's where you killed your wife's lover. You're going to need the new mattress.
And this is the problem with this film, is that the film does not bother to get into great detail on anything happening in the real world with these characters. They spend way too much time on Brad Pitt's background and way too little time on Gabriel Byrne's background.
Yeah.
Fair?
Yeah, no, absolutely fair.
The film, if you excised that entire opening sequence of Brad Pitt, and the first time we saw him was in Cool World, and I hate the fact we're having like a serious discussion about this, but if you took that whole thing out, and the first time you met him, he was in Cool World, and you instead gave us 10 minutes of background on fucking Gabriel Byrne, who's actually either the creator or the savior or both of fucking Cool World, who you might consider to be the main fucking character of the movie.
Yeah.
If you gave him that time for the background, maybe the film would make a little more sense.
It could have very easily, Brad Pitt could have very easily summed up how he got into Cool World in a small conversation with anyone in the film.
Since it never comes up for the rest of the plot like I thought it would, because the minute they mentioned the guy in the tower, I'm like, oh, the guy in the tower is the guy that shot him at the accident, and he was sucked in too, and he started this whole thing. And I was like, no, there's none of that. No, that whole thing we spent 10 minutes setting up, it never comes up again. Don't worry about it.
Nope, doesn't happen anymore.
No,
so,
not a problem. 10 minutes of your life for no reason, really.
So Gabriel Byrne, Holly, she tries to... What she does successfully, she brings him into Cool World for the main reason to have sex with him, because if a doodle, which is the cartoons, has sex with a Noid, which is a human, the doodle will become human.
But I don't even know if she thought that would happen, though, because everybody seemed surprised when it did.
I think she does, because she keeps talking about going to the real world, and she wants it, and she has to have it, and she is fascinated with going there.
I blame the film.
I'm pretty sure she knew, because she's been trying to have sex with Brad Pitt, and she's been trying to bring in other people the whole time.
Because if you looked at a different way, you could have just taken that as like an obsession with Noids. But I blame the film for not being 100%. But the film spends too much time breaking down the whole idea of that Noids and scribbles?
Doodles.
Noids and doodles can't have sex, but never the consequences. And the fact that they leave it as a surprise, the way the characters react, we're not even sure if it's not a surprise for them. They did poor writing job. That's all I'm saying.
I don't disagree with that, but I do think she knew. that having sex with
Debatable.
him would make her human to have her go
I would
to
say
the other
because
side.
of the poor writing in the film, definitely debatable. Yes.
Sure. So she tries. She tries, in my opinion, to have sex with him to pass over into the real world.
Right.
And,
That's my way of saying you might be right.
Because the other part of the plot is that she knows that Vegas Vinny owns a hotel where there's a spike at
She
the top.
thinks.
Well, it's
She thinks
rumored.
because there's no actual Vegas Vinny.
Correct. It turns out Vegas Vinny is the little whiskers guy.
No, he's not. He's made up a story.
Well, I think it's because the whiskers guy made it up and it just passed into Cool World. And again, poor writing.
Yeah, I'm not blaming you. I'm saying I got a totally different angle on that because they don't. My brain's filling in the gaps because they don't leave enough dots to let you fill in the gaps. It's like a difference between a connect the dots and astrology. There's like, okay, that's a slide and ladder,
Yeah.
but then astrology is
a
like
Little Dipper.
How do you see a horse there? What the fuck are you talking about? So yeah, we're filling in different gaps.
Right. Yeah. It definitely seems that way. Well, her main mission is to get over into the real world to get this spike, so that she can become officially human, because she keeps going in and out of being human and a doodle. And so does Jack, because I'm assuming because he's had sex with a doodle, he's infected in some way. It's like
Again, they don't even come close to contemplating what
really,
it means.
They really don't.
There's like 4 different ways you could take it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's that whole story. And then, of course, Brad Pitt, he goes in after them once they do cross over to bring her back, because the whole fate of the universe relies on her not getting... If she gets the spike and gets...
Nobody getting the spike, yeah.
Right. Excuse me.
Tonight.
Yeah, I think I get a mute button with the new software, because I don't have one with any of this stuff.
I hope so. The spike.
The spike, yes. So she gets it. She will destroy the fabric of space and time. I don't know how. It's a fucking cartoon. I don't know.
Well, that I thought was pretty obvious.
I mean, it's like she's in that universe, and then there's the real world. So the fact that they can go in and out so seamlessly isn't really explained either. They just kind of do it.
Right.
The fact that she brings Jack in so easily, it just isn't even really explained.
Here, I'm going to take a second to say that the main reason for that, and a lot of the ambiguity that doesn't really gel, is because they spend so little time on the main character that should be the main character of
Jack.
But they spend a majority of their time instead on this incidental, almost peripheral character of Frank. So Frank is elevated to main character status for no real plot reason, just because they got the pretty boy. Is one of our 2 main actors. We had to give him screen time.
Right.
So they give him all this time that the character does not deserve. And so there's no time to develop our main character or what's going on in the main universe even. Brad Pitt is pretty much the reason this film sucks balls.
Yeah, and the fact that he actually went on to have an illustrious career.
But it's not his fault. I'm not saying his acting's bad. I'm saying
not his fault. But
him being in the film.
Well, I think this goes back to your statement of the poor choices that they made.
Oh yeah.
You know, the poor choice of most screen time is on Brad Pitt instead of Gabriel Byrne. But the thing is, Brad Pitt was starting to become an up and coming actor, so it was probably a studio decision.
Oh no, you definitely. Now, I want to bring up real quick, because just like with our episode on The Keep, which is available on YouTube as well as iTunes, where we got some comments of people like rabidly defending the film. I think if we're reviewing a film like Cool World, which is a bad film that also has a weird cult status,
right,
we're going to get a lot of negative reviews if we're speaking negatively of the film, because they're going to go really into the animation aspect of the film. So I think we have to talk a little bit about the animation aspect.
Okay. Well, like I was saying earlier, it is signature Bakshi. The whole thing. It's that all of his films prior to this, they are in this movie throughout. They truly are.
As well as a couple of direct lifts from Tex Avery.
That's right. The Wolf. There was one.
Mm-hmm.
They did a whole. The girl at the end. She was basically Annie, from the comic, the '40s comics.
That was more obvious.
Was that earlier than '40s? I don't even know, but it's old as shit. So there's that. But all the way down to the Bakshi signature, which he didn't invent, Disney did, the rotoscoping. But Bakshi really, aside from Disney was doing that in the 30s, 40s, and a little bit in the 50s. And they kind of stopped doing it as far as like human rotoscoping. But Bakshi was like, yeah, I dig this. I'm going to do this my whole career.
Little Orphan Annie.
What year?
Origins 1920s.
Jesus
1924 is when the comic strip started.
My God.
I had to check because when you threw out a random date, I was like, nah, I have to check.
I said 30s, and I did say
no.
It could
you
be
were vague
earlier
because you didn't know. That's cool.
Didn't know.
I didn't know either. But I was like, now I have to know.
20s.
I'm not claiming superiority on this.
No.
I'm just saying I looked it up.
She does say to drink your Ovaltine.
Hey. Yeah, I mean, it's obvious, and I'm not accusing Bakshi of stealing or robbing from Tex Avery. It's almost an homage. This is a guy who grew up watching Tex Avery cartoons.
Sure.
And this is where he got to. Now, you and I discussed
What's
Bakshi
interesting
behind the scene. What?
I'm sorry, where you're saying Tex Avery. What's interesting about the scene, the wolf scene, is he probably would have gotten in trouble if his eyes bulged out of his head or his tongue flew out of his mouth. So
Right.
it's vague. You know what it is. You know it's Avery, but I think that's as far as he could go with it without getting sued.
Well, I would have to check too. They might be owned by the same company. I don't even know.
It's possible. But
I
then
don't know
if
who
it
owns
was,
Tex Avery stuff.
I'm sure Bakshi would not have missed an opportunity to do something more.
Yeah, I honestly don't give a shit either way. Now, I'm saying from like that whole like Hollywood. Well, who owns the company? Who gives a shit? I'm talking about the movie.
Was a lot of Tex Avery stuff MGM? I don't even know.
I'm saying I don't know. I never pay attention to that part. I just go into the cartoon. I don't give a fuck about the line. I came to see Droopy.
Hollywood.
Yeah, exactly.
I fucking love Droopy Dog. Oh man.
But that's the I've never been obsessed with the behind the scenes stuff of Hollywood to an extent where it's like, oh, an MGM battle, this and that. Yeah, I'm watching movies. I'm looking at that. I'm less of a historical context reviewer. I'm more of a just strictly the film, what's on the screen. I don't go into the background as much except when it's fun.
Right.
So I don't give a shit. But I'm just saying they
I
might
agree.
own the race.
I
So
don't.
what was I saying?
You were saying an homage back to Avery.
Oh, we're talking about Bakshi's art animation.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. You and I were talking about Bakshi beforehand. You and I both have our past experiences growing up and watching this kind of stuff with Bakshi.
Yeah. I think to this day, my favorite. No, it is my favorite Bakshi film is Fire and Ice. Mainly because of my love for Frank Frazetta.
Right.
His artwork is amazing, and after he had his stroke and he couldn't use his right hand, he had to do all of his artwork with his left. It's so unique because he never did artwork with his left hand, but then he started to because he had to. It's still amazing, but it's like a different person was doing it, even though it was the same person. It's truly astonishing.
Frazetta. Not only would I say you can't find anybody who doesn't like Frazetta art, I guarantee 50% of Frazetta's fans don't even know Frazetta did it.
Probably.
That's how prevalent his artwork is.
Yeah. No.
If you've never noticed it, you've seen his art. Even if we talk about like the Vacation movie poster.
That's right. Well, no, that's Boris. Isn't that Boris?
I thought it was a copy of Frazetta, though.
No, I think the Vacation and the Death Stalker, all those posters, that's Boris.
Right. Okay, same thing applies, though. Same thing applies. I don't want to hear it. Even if you don't know who Frazetta is, you've seen his art.
Absolutely.
He's like Geiger.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, even if you don't know who the fuck Geiger is, you've seen his art. You can't help it.
I mean, and his influence...
It's a part of our culture.
His influence, obviously, he's the reason why the aliens in Alien look the way they do. That was H.R. Geiger. That was all him.
That's what I'm saying. Frazetta has a definite impact on the culture as a whole.
Absolutely.
He's not just a person who did art. He has influenced so many people in our media that his style became a part of our culture.
Yep.
And Bakshi's one of those people. I will say that too. Like Ren and Stimpy, SpongeBob SquarePants. I got that name right. Going up there. Bakshi is a strong influence on all of those people. They are homaging Bakshi.
Absolutely.
Bakshi was the... And here's what I'm going to say about Bakshi, because this is I'll apologize for me not liking a lot of this stuff. Bakshi was ahead of his time. And he had a lot of struggles because he was ahead of his time.
Well, I mean, Fritz the Cat, when did that come out? 72? It was X-rated.
During the 70s and into the 80s, he was ahead of his time.
Yeah.
But just because you're the head of your time doesn't mean you're the best at what you were ahead of.
That's also true.
So take that with a grain of salt.
The
shit he did in the past was no one else is doing it. No one else is doing it so well. Maybe because no one else wanted to do it so well. That's debatable. That comes up with the point. But so I'm not dissing any of his stuff up to maybe Lord of the Rings that I think is highly overrated.
Right.
Hobbit. Sorry. Whatever. Which one?
No, it was Fellowship of... No, Lord of the Rings. It was just the Lord of the Rings.
I thought he did the Hobbit too.
He didn't do the Hobbit.
Who did the Hobbit?
Nah, that was like 70s TV movie. He did the Lord of the Rings, which is the Fellowship of the Ring and the Two Towers. Then they ran out of money. What's the
one he did the rotoscoping on?
Lord of the Rings.
I could have sworn it was he did a second film that had the rotoscoping. I didn't know it was the same thing. The Goblins, where there were people where he just drew over them.
It's Lord of the Rings.
Is it? Okay, I thought that was a different film.
Yeah, no. Yeah, what happened was they did the Hobbit in.
He did, or they did?
No. It wasn't him. Because you can tell it's very distinct. It was a TV movie. It was a TV film. I think it came out in 74 or some shit like that. 75. And they did The Hobbit, and it was successful. It was TV. It was very folk song. They had a lot of folk songs. The books have that. It was very minstrel esque, and that was The Hobbit. And then they approached Bakshi to do a theatrical release for all three films: Fellowship of the Ring, Two Towers, and The Return of the King. And they ran out of money, so they were only able to do a Fellowship of the Ring, and they didn't even do all of the Two Towers. They just ran out of money, and the film kind of ends abruptly. I think that they ended it because they thought they were going to get more money to continue it and put Return of the King in there, and they never did. They just did another TV movie for Return of the King like they did with The Hobbit. It's the same people that did The Hobbit did Return of the King.
So just to reiterate, everything he did, we're talking Fritz the Cat, Heavy Traffic, Coonskin, Wizards, Lord of the Ring, American Pop, Hey Good Looking, which he had trouble with the studios. They ran out of money with that one too, before it came out. And then finally Fire and Ice. The fact that Fire and Ice
Wizards.
is probably the last real thing he did, and the fact that he had another artist doing it with him.
Right. Yeah. You forgot Wizards. That was like a big...
No, I said it, but I said it fast.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I said Coonskin, Wizards, so I burned through it pretty quickly just because I wanted to get to the main point. Is that I really think he probably peaked somewhere in there. I don't know where.
I think he peaked at Fire and Ice.
Well, but then again, that's him collaborating with another artist. It's almost like, hey, I can't do this alone. I mean, take it however you want.
Well, he was also
honestly,
he was also good friends with Frazetta, and he wanted to collaborate with him. So I think a bit of column A, little column B.
I want to say he peaked around between Wizards, Lord of the Rings, and American Pop. I think those three films are like his peak, and everything else after that was I have nowhere else to go. I'm not improved. There's nothing else I can improve upon in my art.
Yeah, and you know what's interesting?
Which is not a bad thing.
If we're going to talk about artists and things like that, it's like where he stopped, Don Bluth pretty much started.
And that's why he hates Don Bluth. He is not like Don Bluth. No.
I'm sure he doesn't. But everything that pretty much how Bakshi ended, Don Bluth pretty much took over.
But again, Don Bluth is the antithesis of Bakshi.
Yep.
Bakshi is like adult, coarse, controversial, and Bluth is like, I can do all the animal critters.
It's like Tesla and Edison. Back in the day.
Which is which though? Which one's?
Well, Edison, from what I've read, Edison he'd sit there, trying to think of inventions, and he'd get them and he'd do them and they'd be good. But he would
switch.
What?
I would switch them. I would say they're like Tesla and Edison. If Edison had gotten stolen from by Tesla.
Oh, well, yeah, sure. Or like Marconi and Alexander Graham Bell. Like Marconi supposedly he invented the phone, but Graham Bell got credit.
Reverse it.
Well, I heard that Edison was more successful than Tesla, but worked harder because he wasn't as talented as Tesla. Tesla would just be able to. It was like effortless for Tesla.
Don't even. Yeah, exactly. So that's why Edison was stupid. Don't start defending Edison because it's not going to work here.
No, I'm not. No. All I'm saying is that Edison was more successful because he hurt himself because he was trying so hard, whereas Tesla was successful but went mad, but it was effortless because he was fucking crazy.
That's like saying, hey, the short guy lost a marathon, but that's because he had more steps. Fuck that.
Fuck that guy.
Fuck short people.
Fuck him. Compared to you, I'm a short person, even though I'm like only 2.5 inches shorter.
No. Anything under 5'8" is short. Just for your right.
Oh.
In case you weren't sure. If you're under 5'8", you're short.
You're short.
I had to set a line there if I'm going to say shit like that.
Okay.
Oh, unless you're a girl. In that case, anything under 5 feet.
Yeah. Okay. I'll agree with that.
All right, cool.
But anyhow, yeah, Don Bluth pretty much took over where Bakshi left off. But
he did, no. When you say that, it was like he continued.
He did.
No. When you say Bluth took over for Bakshi, what you kind of imply is Bluth did what Bakshi did. Neither of them, everything they did was exactly the opposite.
All I'm saying is, as far as
Bluth succeeded where Bakshi didn't.
Okay. All I'm saying is that Bakshi was in the animation, that was his career, animation.
Right. And
so was Bluth. But what I'm saying is Bakshi, he became unpopular, or his fame kind of waned, and Don Bluth skyrocketed. Not doing this way. Just doing animation, not doing the same type of animation.
I think if I put it this way, you'll totally agree with me.
Okay.
My argument would be, Bluth did what Bakshi could never do. Bakshi became popular because he was an underground artist. He was an underground animator.
Yes.
The one thing Bakshi was never able to do, and Cool World proves this, he was never able to come up from the underground and do something marketable for the mainstream. Yeah. But Bakshi was not capable of doing anything mainstream. And before you say it, Lord of the Rings is not fucking mainstream in 1980.
Not even. Hey, even Fire and Ice was not mainstream.
No, well, less so than Lord of the Rings. But I'm saying that's the bit. Bakshi was just never able to climb out of the underground. He still wanted to do everything. Even Frank Miller, raised the bar a bit. Not to compare, but that's what killed Bakshi. And that's my only real complaint about him is that Cool World fails because of that.
Right. I mean, and you talk about them trying to do any kind of advertising for this. I don't know if you remember, but back when this film was released, I think it was released in 1992 or 91. They took the Hollywood sign. Mm-hmm. In Hollywood, California, and they put Hollywood on it.
I remember that
as an advertising ploy. And I always thought, I was like, how the fuck did they do that? I mean, how did they do it, but how did they get that approved? And somehow somebody with a lot of pull got it done. So, okay, so back in the day, the film came out in 1992.
The important part of that story is that they did that, and they put Hollywood up at the end of that. But, and I think they didn't have to pay anything officially, but they gave donations to certain, like the park services and stuff.
Right.
But what happened was the people that live in Hollywood complained because they said it ruined the national, landmark, what have you, and they got it taken down.
Oh yeah.
So it actually became negative press.
Yeah.
It's like, not a good idea. Yeah, you thought you were being clever. You pissed people off.
Yeah, I mean, the film only lasted, I think, a month or two in the theaters. It only made $14 million.
Good.
$5 million.
It deserved more than that.
Yeah, it made $14 million. It made $5 million in the foreign market, so it made $19 million. I'm actually looking up what the budget was, but. I mean, how much money did they give Bakshi to do this? More money than he's ever had to make a movie in his life.
Probably, yeah. But he rarely had live actors, so.
True, and none of the actors in here, even Gabriel Byrne, the movie cost $30 million. Holy shit!
How much of that was Brad Pitt and Gabriel Byrne's salary?
See, here's the thing. I don't think they were getting paid that much. Brad Pitt hadn't even done. Well, actually, Vampire. What the fuck was it? The vampire movie he did.
Lestat.
Interview with the Vampire.
Yeah, Interview with the Vampire.
That came out the same year, 92. And that's when he really went through the roof fame-wise. So he did this right after he did, what the fuck was that movie he did? Johnny something with the crazy-ass hair.
Johnny Suede.
So,
I mean, before Cool World, the biggest thing he was in was Thelma and Louise. And that wasn't a splattering role.
Which was a bit part. And then before that, he did that cheesy slasher movie, the high school movie.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I'll get it. I'll look it up.
High school movie?
Yeah, he's a high school student. He's with the love interest, and then they're.
I thought you were talking about California for a second.
Not California. Not California.
No, that's later. That's like 2 years from now. From Cool World. 1 year from Cool World.
Yeah, he did a film in the early '90s. Where him and another girl, they're high school students, and there's another high school student who's a bad apple, and he turns out to be like a serial killer. He starts killing.
Found it. Across the Tracks?
Is that what it is?
I don't know. I'm looking up some random films because you don't know what the hell you're talking about.
I do know what I'm talking about.
Is it made for TV?
No, it was theatrical. I'll get it for you.
They were young, in love, and wanted for murder.
Nope.
Is that it?
No. The poster, if it has a poster, it's like blue. I remember it being like blue and yellow. I don't know why.
Really?
It's called Cutting Class. Wow, am I fucking good? The poster is blue and yellow.
Cutting Class.
And it came out in 1989. I thought it was early 90s. It's 1989.
I wonder if I saw this when it was out.
Yeah, the film, it's got Brad Pitt. I forget the girl. And the one guy that's the serial killer, I remember...
Jill Sholin?
Oh, I don't know.
Roddy McDowell's in it. Oh, jeez. As Mr. Dante. Oh, we're stretching the metaphors real thin on this one.
Yeah. So, his name is... The one character, he's like in the principal's office, and she gives him like an ultimatum, and he just basically looks at her and goes, "I'd rather suck donkey dick."
Really?
You never saw that movie?
I don't know. It's like it's one of those things. I'm looking at the cover. I'm like, maybe I watched it. 92, so the 89 is when the film came out.
Yeah.
So there's a good chance I might have seen it at least once on cable without even knowing it.
Well, I'll tell you what. If this was a challenge, if Cool World was your challenge to me, you would be getting Cutting Class.
And I'm going to look it up because I need to know if I know this film now. This is like this was a Megaforce moment where I'm like, do I know this film?
This was a Cinemax special. This was played on Cinemax
That's what I'm saying. I had Cinemax.
It was played on Cinemax all the time.
I'm going to get a copy of this. I'm going to find out. We will follow up on this because I really don't know if I own this film or not. But anyway, where were we in the film? Oh, we were talking about the animation. And
we were talking about the animation. We were talking about Bakshi kind of peaking before Fire and Ice.
So let's talk. Yeah, so I was leading into the actual film. Let's talk a bit about the since this is an animated feature, at least part of the time. Let's talk about the animation.
Yeah. Let's do that.
What's your feelings on it?
Never really being a huge fan of Bakshi's animation, and the fact that it is signature Bakshi, I'm just kind of middle of the road with it.
What?
Believe me, there's nothing that blows me away by any of the animation, other than the fact that it is signature Bakshi. So you could watch this movie 10 times and you could see little different things like happening in the background.
But can I say that now there's two ways to put that.
Yeah.
Like when you say that at first, it's like, oh, this is the kind of film that has like layers and layers and you have to watch it over and over again. No. What happened is Bakshi threw so much shit at the fucking screen that there's just chaos happening at any given moment that has nothing to do with anything, and you might not see something because it's all happening stupidly at wrong times.
Like there's a scene when they walk into the club for the first time. This is Jack and Hollywood. I'm pretty sure one of the characters is getting a blowjob.
Possibly.
I'm pretty sure he's getting a blowjob because he's kind of humping at the wall, and then they all turn around, and there's this little guy that comes around like his leg, and it's like, oh, he was getting a blowjob.
Let me put it this way.
It's so quick and subtle. It's like, yeah, you're going to keep your PG-13.
If there are probably maybe 10 or 12 words you are not allowed to use when describing Ralph Bakshi art, one of them is subtle. Subtle does not come into the Bakshi universe. The fact that it's called Cool World and it takes place in a place called Cool World should tell you that.
Okay.
Now,
yes.
The animation that happens while people are talking is almost like I really feel like there was a first cut of the film, and then whoever's watching it or test audience was like, yeah, this is boring. There's not enough happening, and so they just said, Bakshi, whatever. We just need some random shit to happen. So that's why you'll have a scene where two characters are talking, and then like just out of nowhere, a sketch skull would go, and no one reacts to it. Nothing happens. It's just, and this happens all throughout the film.
Right, and they even get to the point of where, not even the skull. They have every artist that learns to draw or does any kind of real stylized drawing learns how to draw bodies, like almost like in a sculptor-like manner. Like there's things like that are throughout, like just black and white pencil drawings just floating in through the screen. It's like, what the fuck is this?
Right, and there's two ways you can take that. You can say, oh, what they're doing there is saying that since this is doodle land, anything you draw, even like a doodle on a napkin, would kind of come into here. So these are like drawings or doodles that people have done that aren't fully formed. So that's why they don't have any real substance. That's the thinking person's part of the movie. That's if you're high watching this and trying to rationalize why you're seeing random shit. The reality is they just said, hey, these things are too boring. We need just like, you know what? I can see Bakshi, like a veteran animator, talking to like the studio heads at Universal. Universal, right?
Paramount,
same thing. Talking to heads.
Well, you know what? Universal doesn't flag. They just monetize us. So
and you could almost see the studio heads like looking at charts and talking to fucking Kim Basinger, who shouldn't open her fucking mouth ever.
No,
thank you very much.
No.
And
9.5 weeks is pretty much where it should have. And she won an Oscar for LA Confidential. LA Confidential.
Well, she didn't do anything in.
She really didn't do much in that.
Let me before I lose my track, because I have somewhere else I would go with that. Yeah. I can almost see Bakshi talking to these people and like, yeah, I see we did the test audiences and they say the scene's too boring. So that's a scene where two characters are talking. It's like, yeah, we need stuff. Just like put more animation in. We need stuff in the background. But there's nothing happening in the scene. It's a dialogue scene. Yeah, no, put stuff. Fine, I'll put fucking stuff in there. All right, yeah, I'll put fucking stuff in there. Fine, fine. And that's why, like, and even the crowd scenes where you'd think there'd be like layers of stuff that made sense, it's almost like he's like, oh, they want people? Fine, I'm gonna put a kid sucking on an anvil. There, fine, you got that? That's in the fucking foreground. What does that have to do with anything? Nothing. I'm just fucking drawing it. Fuck you. And the big thing is, and you know, I feel for Bakshi because you look into the history of it. Here's a guy who's underground. And this is the big thing. This is where Bakshi fails as an artist, and I'm not blaming the film on him entirely. But what happens is he's an underground artist who gets a mainstream gig, Paramount, Kim Basinger, Brad Pitt, Gabriel Byrne. You're fucking mainstream. This is the most mainstream you've ever been in your fucking life. This is winning the lottery for artists. You know, yeah. Fuck whatever the fact. Oh, I'm an artist. Yeah, great. You're artist, and you're not making as much money as you could if you're sucking these people's cock. So you're up here, and what happens is he starts making this film, and then Kim Basinger, who's an idiot, starts talking to Paramount, and then they gang up on him and say, hey, you know, we're thinking more. And Kim thinks, the one thing I saw that I really like is, like, apparently Kim comes up to probably during a meeting and says, I would like Cool World to be this kind of film that I could, like, take into a school and show children. And Bakshi kind of looks at her and goes, you know, I hate to hear you say that because that's not what I'm making. Why didn't you come to me with this before we started filming? We're halfway through production. That's not the film I'm doing. And Paramount kind of said, well, guess what? It is now. and his vision, if you watch any Bakshi up until this point, his vision was a lot darker.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen some people compare it to Sin City. No fucking way. Sorry. No. You take anything of Bakshi's in the past and say, oh, and it's like Sin City. No. I don't buy that shit, to say the least. But he had a much darker vision. It was more, you know, gritty like anything else he'd done before. And he's like, wow, I'm finally getting this in the mainstream. And then mainstream said, no, we just want your goofy animation.
Yeah, and we're giving you $30 million, so you're going to do what we tell you.
Yeah, it's not your film anymore. Did anybody tell you? And I think that's why they say he stopped making film because, like, he was depressed because they weren't making money. Him actually working with mainstream people and realizing that he has to submit. He was like, well, I can't do that. It's like a positive and a negative. I'm not totally. I'm not trashing Bakshi.
I think he would be more successful in this market now.
Well, it's a new market. Yeah, I mean, he could. Well, but only because he could do more underground stuff because the budgets are there now for underground.
Right.
But you're talking back in the day where underground meant you don't make money. Underground makes money now. There's no real underground anymore.
No.
Because you can monetize. You can fucking monetize PewDiePie.
Oh, stop.
But you know what I'm saying? Like the underground is mainstream now. No budget, negative budget, low budget, streaming, random people doing stupid shit is the big money maker now because of the thing is everything's changed. The structure of the media entertainment has changed. So if Bakshi started now, but he doesn't even understand the concept of what's happening now.
They could give him. He
was ahead of his time. I give you that, and he was good at being ahead of his time. But time passed him, and he never kept up.
Right. If they gave him the same amount of money now, they gave him $30 million now to make something.
He wouldn't do it.
No, I'm just saying if he wanted to, he could do the film that he wanted, make it as dark as he wanted, and even if it didn't make money back theatrically, it's going to make money everywhere else.
Wait, here's the thing with the underground artists, though. The only reason the underground artists exist is to push the envelope. If there's no envelope, you don't have an underground artist. That's why people like Bakshi like kind of dabble in there and they come back when people say, oh, I grew up on your stuff, but I was influenced, rightfully so. It's like, oh, cool, I'll come on to this show and do stuff. I mean, I'm not saying he hasn't worked since then, but he's done nothing like he did back in those days because there's no need for him anymore. And when the artist has nothing to rebel against, for some artists, that's all there is. You look at Bakshi's past stuff, it's full rebellion. You know, sex, drugs, everything on the screen.
Oh, yeah.
You know, coming through the 70s where everybody was doing that, you know, trying to rebel, which doesn't make it mainstream. But
now, let me ask you this. Since you have his resume up in front of you,
Well, I don't. I'm just going off of memory. I'm sorry.
Can you pull up his resume real quick?
I've got IMDb. I can.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm curious
I gotta
what he did, directing wise, not just anything, directing wise, leading up to this after Fire and Ice, and what has he done since this? Because I have a feeling there's two huge gaps, and that's after Fire and Ice and after this.
Okay. All right. So all the films I've read a lot before. Let's start from Fritz the Cat because that's his big breakout. I think I could be wrong. I'm not.
What did he do before Fritz?
There's a bunch of stuff that he directed, but there's probably most likely shorts. But yeah, so between 1971 and 1978, he does Fritz the Cat, Heavy Traffic, Coonskin, Wizards, and then Lord of the Rings in 78.
Okay.
Now, after 78, between 81 and 83, he has American Pop, Hey Good Lookin', Fire and Ice.
Got it.
Now, from 83, he's got a bunch of TV stuff he did until 1992. So we're talking almost 10 years before his next film.
That's what I thought.
We're talking directing.
That's all I was talking about. I thought. Yeah. I'm guessing that there was a huge gap after Fire and Ice and after Cool World.
There's like almost a 10-year gap between Fire Ice and Cool World.
Right.
And then after Cool World, as far as anything that's not TV related, TV, Babe, He Calls Me in 97, which looks like a short. I don't.
So he hasn't done a feature film of any kind, animation or live action, since Cool World.
No, his last three credits are Malcolm and Melvin, 1997. Which I'm assuming is a short, 8 minutes long, right?
Okay.
Then Trickle Dickle Down, that's a hard one, especially when I get echo. And that was only a 2-minute short. And then 2015, he directed Last Days of Coney Island. That was a thing he was working on for a while. And that's a 22-minute short. And that was, for a while, that was like in the background for years. That was his next big project. It's a 22-minute thing he did.
Oh, wow.
It's not even a full range, full length film feature.
I'd be interested to see that because that's his first real thing in 20 years.
I think a lot of
25 years.
I think
My God, this movie's 25 years old.
Yeah, but I'm saying I just think he was important when he was, and then he wasn't, and that's just how it happens. And Cool World was one of those indicators that this is not your world anymore.
So, do you think he burned some bridges with this movie? And that's why he really hasn't worked?
So. I don't think he burned bridges. I think he just gave up. I honestly think the clashing with the studio was like, I can't do this. This is not my world. And I think he just said, fuck it. I can buy that. All right. I don't know him. All I know is bits and pieces of history. But I really get that feeling. Where it's just like, and I can see it. I understand it too. Here's an underground guy, and he was forced to go mainstream. Not even like, oh, I have to do this. Against his will, his project was taken from him and turned into pablum. And I think it broke him. I think he said, you know what, I've been working for so long, let me just relax a bit.
Oh, you know what's interesting? Okay, here's the scene in the film where Brad Pitt is going back to the real world.
Uh-huh.
And
wow, we're that in already?
Yeah, and the movie's almost over.
Oh, Jesus.
There's like 20 minutes left in the film. What I do like about this is when he goes back, he's fucked up. Like, he's all scraped up, his suit's all fucked up from the second he left.
Now, here's where I had this, I
actually liked that.
Yeah, but here's me, thinking, okay, it comes full circle. Now we find out he was shot. And there's the mystery of why he was shot. And this is going to come back to whoever owns the hotel, Mr. Big. It actually wasn't mistaken. It was like the guy that got in a crash with it shot him because he was afraid of getting caught. Anything that would give a link or have a reason to even do that.
Right.
None.
Nothing there.
And maybe I'm asking too much of a cartoon, which is what this film is. Now, what do you have any thoughts on the artistry or the cinematic aspect where they had the live scenes where they would just do cardboard cutouts behind them, and, weird angles, and the doors would slide open and they were just cardboard?
Well, this is what I think. and I don't know if this is if this is true or if it was more or less expensive. I kind of think the feeling that I got when I saw it was that was an inexpensive way to add some depth to this world that they were in. It's like, okay, it's one less thing we need to animate. That's what I kind of took it as, and I think it works. I think it works pretty well. But I think not that they were cutting corners, but it's like, well, if we do all this like this foreground and background stuff where it's cardboard cutouts and whatnot, and we do it strategically, it's a lot less stuff we need to animate. That's how I took it.
Right, but here's the problem. If this had been a situation where Who Framed Roger Rabbit and Cool World came out at the same time, then we can make the argument of, wow, they found out Who Framed Roger Rabbit, this huge undertaking, came out, is underway, this huge film. We need to capitalize on this. You know how it works. So they said, let's come up with a similar idea. Hey, who's a famous cartoonist we can get cheap? Oh, Bakshi. He's not working. So they get him, and they get him involved in this because they're trying to beat Roger Rabbit to come out and be the first one out and say, hey, this is our stuff. That would make so much fucking sense. If this hadn't come out 4 years after Roger Rabbit.
Right.
And it isn't like they tried to match technologies and failed. They came out 4 years after a film that revolutionized showing human actors interacting with cartoons.
Right.
4 years later, they came out with something that looks like should have been done 10 years before.
That's right. And the human and animation, the doodle interaction was horrible. Like when Brad Pitt's putting his arm around his girl, Lynetta, or whatever her name is, it's like, Brad, just kind of put your arm in the general direction, of where it's going to be. And they probably lifted his arms. Okay, just keep it at this length when you do it, and just keep it there, and just don't, and then we'll figure it out. We'll put it in. Like when he smokes a cigarette in one shot, he smokes a cigarette, right? And he blows smoke, or they animate smoke, and then the next shot is he just kind of does like that, where he's blowing smoke and nothing happens. It's just like they didn't even do that right.
Here's the thing. For the first 10 or 15 minutes of the film, whenever there's interaction between like Brad Pitt and the Doodles,
right?
They any interaction happens off screen. It's like, there's like I can't even name them 100%. But like things like picking up the phone and dropping it and things like that, it happens off screen, most of it. Right?
Yeah.
And like I'm watching and you notice it right away because it's so blunt. It's not even well done. And like they're not showing it because they can't animate it. I get that. But then it's like later they said like, well, fuck it, let's just try animating it. And no, it's no better. You should do it off screen. Why is he like if you can't show him a hand or something, why would you have him put his arm around her? Can't someone reblock the scene where he's not holding his arm awkwardly out trying to guess where she'd be, and then having cheap animators like not fill it in properly?
Yeah.
It's obvious they had no budget, but again, all this would be almost forgivable if they were rushing a low budget copy of Roger Rabbit as it was coming out.
Right.
This is 4 years after. You look at what Roger Rabbit did, and you say, do we even want to try this? Really? It's like Transformers comes out and you want to do your thing, but you don't have a CGI budget at all, and you actually have to put people in costumes with like things moving and shit. It's like it's like doing Godzilla in the monster suit after the CGI Godzilla.
They did
it's
that.
Like, what?
They actually did. Well, I mean, it came from Japan, but they did that.
Oh, I just got a copy of it. I haven't watched it yet.
Not that one. We're talking about the one with Matthew Broderick with the CGI Godzilla. Like a year later, not even a year later, a few months later, Japan did regular Godzilla with the rubber suit.
And it was so much better.
It was better.
It was so much better. Yeah, you can't go backwards with that.
I think it was called Godzilla 2000.
Except for that one moment, you can't go backwards with this shit.
No,
you can't take innovation backwards. I mean, but that wasn't even backwards. That was rebelling. It wasn't like think of it this way. Think if Godzilla Matthew Broderick came out, and then Japan said, "Oh yeah, we're going to do this, but with the CGI you had back in the late '90s." or in the late 80s, like early 90s when it was first starting. So what? Why would you? And like it'd almost be like him in front of a green screen shit, and like the animation would look like Cool World. It would be that bad.
That's like why are we doing a throwback to this?
You can't go backwards with the technology, and that's what Cool World did. It's all right. Roger Rabbit perfected it, so let's just go back and do it the way we were doing 10 years before Roger Rabbit.
Right.
That's a great idea. Let's get Brad Pitt.
And then the daughter in the movie, she's obviously in love with Jack.
She's a daughter?
She's the daughter, yeah.
I didn't realize she was the daughter. I thought they were just neighbors. No, they're just neighbors.
No, she calls the other lady Mom.
I think that's because they were lesbian lovers, I thought. Oh.
No. What? I believe all the young kids that are running around are her brothers and sisters.
But not Gabriel Byrne's sister.
No.
His
neighbors across the street.
Okay. All right, yeah, thank you.
But she like on more than one occasion she comes over, and when Brad Pitt crosses over, they borrow her car and she drives them to where this spike is presumably going to be, where Hollywood is trying to get it. And of course, when she thinks Jack is dead, she doesn't know it. She just starts crying. It's like, why are you crying? You don't even know him.
Yeah, it's like poor character arcs. The neighbors, they introduce them and they have enough screen time where you have to give them some kind of arc. And however minor it is, she's there at the ending. It's so 80s. It's so 80s. It's like so 80s like comedy, and it just shows how Bakshi was not able to get beyond that. He's making a film that would have been perfectly acceptable in the 80s. It's 1990, 92.
Yep.
It's not there. I think it's like, and I think he knew that. Think about it this way: it's not even like he had to change his vision. I think he realized at a certain point that he was like a prisoner of the budget and the studio, what they would allow, and so you've got him shooting these atrocious scenes, and it's like, this is the best I can do under in this situation. What I've got, this is the best I can do. Because they want this, and this is what I can do.
Yeah.
And then you're the reason the film sucks.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
No.
Earlier in the movie, Brad Pitt, he climbs up a building with his sidekick or his deputy or whatever the fuck he is, Nails, and he says, "Oh man, I hate heights." They do kind of imply a little bit that he's afraid of heights. And then later on in the movie, the climax, he's climbing up a building, or he's at the top of a building. And when I saw it earlier in the film, and I didn't remember, I'm like, oh, did they play on this a little bit? And then they don't.
No. That would involve foresight and foreshadowing and all those cool things that happen in a real screenplay. This doesn't do it. And speaking of lack of, forget the fact that Brad Pitt has too much screen time and Gabriel Byrne has not enough screen time. Let's talk about the female lead of this film.
Kim Basinger.
Yeah, what the fuck is up with her, with Hollywood?
I don't know. She's
like the it's like she's the only female character. They throw in fucking Brad Pitt's girlfriend, but no one's paying attention. Kim Basinger's Hollywood is the character, and it's just this weird, mild double cross, goofy chick, and there's never any real cohesion to it.
No.
And it just gets kind of, when she comes in the real world, it just becomes kind of ludicrous, because the way she acts in the real world, she never acted like that in the doodle world.
Yeah, it was almost like she was suffering from like dementia.
It's like it's like Bakshi said, listen, just pretend you're a different person.
Yeah.
That's how blatant it is. It's like she never acted this goofy in the fucking Cool World.
No, and when she confronts Whiskers and she finds out he's a doodle, she's like, you're a doodle. It's like, what the fuck? It's almost like they had. Well, nowadays it's when any actor does any kind of reads for an animated film, they don't even see the other actors. That's why films like Fantastic Mr. Fox, the approach that they had was I don't even want to say revolutionary, but they never really did it. All of the actors were around each other when they did those lines, and it made it very
Organic.
Yeah, organic, and the chemistry felt better. It was I liked, because I watched a lot of behind the scenes for it, and I was like, this is a really and Rango. They did the same thing. Gore Verbinski did the same thing in Rango, where they were all together, and they acted those scenes out. So it was, I believe, maybe I'm getting the two mixed up. Maybe it was Rango they did it, but I could swear they did it in both of those movies. So anyhow, back then, it's almost like they said, listen, we need you to read these lines for the movie. And she did. And then when she was actually acting in the film, she just... It's like how you mentioned, it's like Bakshi might have said, do it goofy.
Well, but also, I guarantee you that it's not like she's rotoscoped in those scenes. I don't think Kim I haven't read much about the making of Cool World, as neither has most people.
I wouldn't be surprised if she's not rotoscoped.
I wouldn't be surprised if she wasn't involved with any of the previous stuff instead of reading lines, like you just said.
She just read lines and then
animates the character in.
And then she just came in to do live action stuff.
And then they get it live, and it's like, well, I was just reading those lines. It wasn't acting. It's a different thing. I wasn't being the character till now. I don't know. It's just there's a huge disconnect between those. Just like there's a huge disconnect between Brad Pitt and the character that when he becomes a Toon. Oh, spoiler alert.
Yeah, Doodle. And you know what's terrible about that scene when Hollywood throws him off the building? It was one of those things, because they're on the balcony, and she asks him to help her, and he does, and then she throws him off, and she's just kind of like, She's kind of and she's going to climb up to get the spike. When they show Brad Pitt falling, they don't even remove the wire in post, and it is so apparent in the shot. It's not even a white wire; it's a black wire. And I thought maybe they thought black would hide against the building, and it doesn't. It actually stands out more.
Here's something funny that bothered me at first, and then I realized why they did it, but it still doesn't make sense in the logic of the film. When Gabriel Byrne and Hollywood are in the real world, and they start flashing back the cartoon versions.
Right.
Did it bother you that Hollywood wasn't flashing back as Hollywood, but as some kind of big clown?
It did, because Gabriel Byrne does it as well.
Did it occur to you eventually why she was flashing back as a big clown?
Was it because she was going crazy?
No.
I don't even know.
It's because there's no possible way in heaven you could flash her into the bizarrely twisted feminine form of Hollywood, the animated character, with her body type.
Oh, you're saying because it doesn't match up.
There's no fucking way, because it's not a human form. So when they had to flash her into cartoon, it's like, well, if we don't flash her back to person, it's like we're just like, it has to be the same shape. So it's like, well, I was gonna put a fucking clown costume on her because she's no fucking Hollywood.
And because they're doing it to Gabriel Byrne, they had to match it.
Right, but him was easy because there's no animated version of him, and then when it is, it's totally opposite of his character in any way, shape, or form.
Comic book superhero.
But it's almost like you could tell Bakshi wasn't even drawing with the implication of having to make Kim Basinger it.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like you. It doesn't work. That's why it's like, let's throw in her clown outfit, okay, and then she doesn't become. The only time she becomes Hollywood, the animated character again, is when there's no more flashing back, because you can't fit that body type.
Yeah.
And that takes me out of the film more than anything, because you can tell that it has nothing to do with anything except somebody didn't plan properly.
No.
In pre-production.
Well, that and the fact that the two outfits that she wears as Hollywood, the cartoon, Kim Basinger probably wouldn't have worn either one of those. Specifically the first one, which is basically a stripper outfit where it's like a thong straight up her ass.
Right.
So Kim Basinger ain't going to wear that. And the second outfit is like
she's still a whore.
Super skin.
Let's be fair.
I'm just like, the second outfit is like a super skin tight evening gown, which she's not wearing that either. Whatever. Like it's like after she has sex with Jack, a nightgown, like this white like nightie, like slides down on top of her, and it's like, that's interesting. That's not what she was wearing a minute ago.
Say it before I say it. Say it before I say it.
I don't know what you're gonna say.
Where did she get all the fucking human clothing?
Yeah, oh, she didn't. It was crazy because when they go back into the real world, she's got all this clothing, including like a schoolgirl outfit with glasses, and it's like, where the fuck did she get that?
Yeah, when they're still in the Toon world, where did you get the fucking? Where did you get all these real clothing?
Yeah, and then when she goes back, she's like, oh, let me get dressed. It's like, or let me get changed, and it's like he's holding her luggage. It's like, how did she get real luggage? It's like she became human, and all her shit became real too. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Also, the film's so poorly structured that the whole backstory of Gabriel Byrne being in prison has nothing to do with the film.
No,
he could have just been. It could have just been. Yeah, my wife left me. I'm a cartoonist. Fill in the blanks.
Right.
Why do we have to? Why is there anything involving prison and? What redemption is there, if any, and why is his destiny to be a hero if that's not it? And don't delve too deeply into whether he, created this universe or if he had glimpses into it. Let's just focus on Brad Pitt's storyline.
Yeah, for whatever, I don't know for what reason. So
yeah, and then they see test audiences. Yeah, they're bored. I guess we need to put more shit on the screen. No, you need to put a fucking script on the screen. Who wrote this shit? Oh, I should look up who wrote this shit.
I think it was Bakshi. I think he wrote and directed it.
Ooh, bad move, Bakshi.
I want to say, well, if he didn't, I think he has a screenwriting credit. He either wrote and directed the whole thing, or
I don't see any screenplay credits. It's animation adaptation department. Hang on. Give me a second. I'll get there.
Could have sworn that he.
I don't know. I honestly am ignorant on that at this point. Director, Ralph Bakshi. Writers, no. Michael Grace and Mark Victor.
Really?
Now, Michael Grace, bring it up. He's a Hollywood writer. He actually worked on Poltergeist 2, Death Hunt in '81.
Oh God, with Charles Bronson and Lee Marvin.
Yeah. So I don't know how, you don't know how much each writer, since they, sometimes you have writers who don't do as much, but they're still listed. Then the other guy, Mark Victor, he worked on Poltergeist and Poltergeist 2, and also the Poltergeist remake. Oh no, remake is just based on his characters. So these are the writers from Poltergeist and Poltergeist 2.
God.
What else? He did Marked for Deaths, a Steven Seagal film. And then UFO Abductions for TV, and then Secrets of the Universe for TV, which they both did, by the way, both writers. And then they did Cool World. And then I don't think that writing-wise, Mark Victor didn't really do anything after that. And then Mark Grace did very little. He did nothing after that either. This is pretty much the last major screenplay they wrote. There's a Lakeshore Drive, but that's nothing. That's a short, even. Yeah, fuck it. So, and I guarantee the only reason Bakshi doesn't have a writing credit is probably because he didn't want one.
Yeah.
I mean, he was directing. I mean, I'm sure he had an influence on the film, but this is not the film he would have wanted to make. I'm sure it's not the film he signed on for. And I don't know if he refused the credit, but I would guarantee that's what happened. For writing, at least. Bad enough his name's on it as director.
Yeah, definitely.
And the fact that the everything that these guys wrote before this has no background in animation. I don't know if he knew them or what. I don't know I don't know the details on that. I didn't go that deep. There's no book on the making of Cool World.
Really? Oh.
You have to do research and shit.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
But there's that.
Yeah, there's that. Have we said our piece? Only because when I post this, I'm gonna have to change how I write the appeal, because I always say that we show the movie partially and we're ready to show the whole movie.
Oh, well, let me just say this. Let me just say this.
All right.
The one line that threw me off the most in this film, and there's a lot of bad lines,
Yeah.
but when he out of nowhere said, "There's 8 million ways to die," that threw me off. Because, like, wait a minute, that's a film.
Yeah.
8 million ways to die. And I tried to Google that to see if that's ever been a phrase that people say, and I couldn't find anything. So either it was a weird coincidence, or they actually did a throwback to one of the most bizarre drug smuggling action films of the 70s ever made, or 80s. It was 80s. It was 80s.
I think it was early 80s.
Jeff Bridges.
But yeah.
With Jeff Bridges.
Jeff Bridges, yeah.
They did, Cool World did a throwback to the gangster film in which Jeff Bridges and the Hispanic actor Montoya. Not Montoya. What the fuck am I talking about?
I don't remember.
Well, I gotta look it up because I have to finish my sentence.
You're not thinking of Raul Julia.
No. All right. Let me go all the way through that again.
You're not thinking of Jimmy Smits.
Let me start my sentence from the beginning.
Okay.
Cool World did a throwback to an 80s Miami Vice type film that had Jeff Bridges pitted against Andy Garcia eating snow cones while talking about buying drugs. Snow cones made out of the back of Andy Garcia's trunk.
You know, I don't think I've ever seen that movie.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it at the top of your list. It's one of the more bizarre 80s cop gangster films you'll ever see.
Right.
But still, it still doesn't knock it up that much higher. I'll get a cut of that scene for you. That's all you need to see.
I did when he said it. I was like, oh, there's a movie called that. I'm like,
yeah.
I thought the same thing you did. I'm like, wow, are they referring to that movie?
I couldn't find any other instance of that being like a common term. It's just it's too coincidental to be a coincidence. Anyway. Yeah, I'm done. Want to rate it?
Yeah. What's it rated at right now? It's got to be like in the probably 4s or 5s.
4.8.
4.8.
Yeah.
And if we gave it a 5, that would mean it's average. I guess I could go 5. I'd be okay with a 4.
I can't go 5 because this film's below par because of the lack of any coherence with the screenplay.
Yeah, no,
it leaves too many things open to interpretation. And honestly, I like films that leave things open to interpretation. Cartoon things that show cartoons having sex, I don't need to interpret anything. Just tell me what the fuck's going on.
Yeah.
So 4 stars. Wow, 17,000 votes plus on IMDb.
Wow.
This shouldn't be very exciting. All right, here you go. Highest demographic is females age 18 to 29.
Huh.
Hello, Brad Pitt. Lowest demographic is females under 18. 4 of them did not like this film.
Oh my.
Only 4 voted, 4.5 average. Highest, but if IMDb staff, you want to guess?
I'm gonna say under 10. Meaning under 10 staff, and their rating. I'm gonna go with a 4.
2 IMDb staff members.
Yeah.
Average 8.5.
What?
Which means you know exactly what they voted. One person voted 10. One person voted 7. That's got to be it. Either that or one voted 9 and one voted no. Yeah. One voted 10, 1 voted 6.
Jesus Christ.
Or one voted 9, one voted 7. That's the only way this thing comes out to 8.5. No. 10 and 7. It got to be 10 and 7.
10 and 7.
Or 9 and 8.
Or any
it's 8 or 9 or 10 or 7.
Yeah.
Either way.
It was rated high.
No matter what they voted, the lowest any of them voted was 7 stars for fucking Cool World.
Oh my God.
These people should not be working on IMDb staff.
No.
I apologize. I know,
It's like what I mentioned. It's like, oh yeah, I bet they love the SpongeBob SquarePants film because it's that demographic, it's that generation.
I wish they told you too. I wish they told you who. I wish the IMDb staff had to explain who voted.
You know what?
So, oh yeah, Steve. Guess what? Steve gave this one a fucking 7. Fuck you, Steve.
And you know what? If they did that, they would probably feel more.
Oh shit.
They feel more accountable, and they probably wouldn't give it such a high rating.
I didn't know I could do this. I drilled in. It tells me one voted 10, one voted 7.
Oh.
It gives the demographics on the individual.
An
I didn't even know that.
An IMDb staff member thought this was a perfect film.
Wow, this opens up a whole new door. So those 4 females under 18 that gave it 4.5.
Yeah.
I can see what the percentage was. Oh, this makes more sense. 2 of them gave it an 8 and a 7, and 2 of them gave it a 1 and a 2.
Ah, okay.
So if I go to females age 18 to 29 who gave an average of 5.5, in just that demographic, the 2 highest ratings are 5 and 10.
Wow.
So 17% of females 18 to 29 gave it a 5, but 14% just below that gave it a 10.
Wow, fun.
Wow, that bothers me. Oh. So do we know what we're reviewing next week, sir?
We do not. We have a plethora. Would you say I have a plethora?
I would.
We have a plethora of films that we can choose from. So it's just a matter of us agreeing on one and then announcing it.
And we announced it yesterday for this episode.
Mm-hmm.
I'm aiming for Tuesday, maybe even Monday for the next one.
Cool.
I think we have to start picking it up so people know ahead of time. The person who that was JM,
Sammy J.
Sammy J. But strike that, reverse it. Sammy J. Sammy J. Requested this. I think I personally told him on the YouTube page that he requested it this afternoon. Oh, we're doing this tonight.
Yeah.
So I didn't give much notice.
Sammy J. He's probably busy.
Yeah, but the next person, we'll try to give them a bit heads up before the current day it's happening.
Sounds like
that we're going to review the film they asked us to.
And the fact that I am not posting this video to YouTube, I don't know if I'm going to fix.
I don't
know if I'm going to fix that audio in the beginning because it'll just be too hard. Not that it'll be too hard. I just don't have the time.
Doesn't bother me.
But it's like 10 seconds or 15 seconds of no sound and then me complaining about it. So I'm going to probably keep that keep that in the way it is.
For the Jeopardy theme.
Yeah, maybe we won't get flagged because there's no sound there either. I don't know.
Maybe the traveler not there will help us. But you're not going to do this until you find out what happens to Crocodile? Or
with Crocodile Dundee, because I don't want to risk getting an actual strike. Because then if I post this in Paramus, if Paramount is big a hard-on for Crocodile Dundee as they are going to be for this, we could be in a 2-strike situation, and then third, they just delete our channel.
So we're going to see how Crocodile rolls first.
We're going to see how that rolls out first. And what I found out about the copyright process now, that's now different, we've mentioned it in the past couple of episodes, is you don't get a strike right off the bat. They allow you to dispute it and appeal it, and then at the very end, if the copyright holder feels that they're still right, they can forcefully remove your video, and then you get a strike from YouTube. Instead of that just happening right off the bat, it happens at the end. But even if we get a strike, the strike only lasts for 90 days.
Oh, there you go.
But with that said, if we get a strike, we can actually send in another claim directly to YouTube to say that it was taken down and that it's fair use. And then YouTube will investigate and open it up again. So
if Crocodile doesn't get a strike, this will be up. So you might, if you're watching this on YouTube, this might come out a little bit later than it was recorded.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping that this will be.
Does time matter anymore? I mean, because everything's up. I mean, how do you?
Yeah,
and who cares about time?
And the fact that we're uploading, 1 to 2 past episodes a week anyway, They'll be able to hear this on our website and on iTunes and just anywhere else that you can listen to the audio version of the podcast. So,
and that'll be all covered when Joey covers it at the end of the show.
That's right.
Which might be now.
It is going to be now.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
So you already did it.
Oh, wait a minute.
Like,
no. Actually, we have a voicemail. We have a voicemail from Gino. So let me cue that up.
A voicemail from Gino? How odd.
It's craziness. Here, you could actually... fuck it. I don't care. I'll leave my computer up. And... this is a fun little sneak peek for everyone. Here we go.
Oh, what?
They're taking a little peek into my computer.
Oh.
Oh, wait. Hold on.
What? Oh, dude.
Might not be able to play this voicemail. Because
why not?
Whatever reason, I don't have sound.
Oh, that's right. The sound malfunctioned. We don't have any sound. Period. Shit. So we'll have to play that next week.
Well,
is it time sensitive?
No. Let me see. Let me see if I have ending music.
I don't hear anything.
I don't even have ending music.
Yeah, we have nothing.
So, for whatever reason, my computer is not producing sound for any of the videos or I don't know why.
But is there anything in Chino's voicemail that you should mention now, or can it wait till next week?
I didn't get a chance to listen to it other than a little bit. He talks about some of the stuff that he's doing, and he mentions us. That's kind of it.
Oh, you know what, Gino? Sorry, obviously, because you can tell from the opening of the show, it has nothing to do with you. We will play it next week. We were ready to do it.
Yes,
but just Joey's computer sucks.
Yeah, I'm thinking about building a new one.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
I'm probably not, because this new software is probably going to fix all of our problems.
Oh yeah.
Well, and real quick, you know what it is too. I rebooted this machine because I was like, you know what? Let me reboot it, because if I don't, sometimes I have audio issues because I remote into it from the office. So, and I installed that new software today. I'm wondering if that has anything to do with my sound issues, even though. Oh, I bet that's what it is. Give me one hot second.
How long is a hot second? I don't know if I've ever had any of those.
Here, playback. I'm in the playback section. And yep, that's why the new software changed the default playback audio to itself.
Oh, okay.
Which just means that it's like, I'm ready to work now. Come on. I'm ready to work. And it's like, no. That's why I'm not getting any sound. Oh, you motherfucker. All right, so here we go. Hold on. Let's see. Set as default. And let me see if this does anything. I should have known. Wait. All right.
Hey guys, Gino Cuddy calling in, and I know what you must be thinking. Oh boy, this prick again? Yeah, it's that prick again. Anyway, I hope you guys have been doing well. I've been watching some of your older shows. I just recently watched kind of a horrible, awesome movie from that wonderful video distributor known as Ray Don Home Video, if you guys remember them. It's a movie called Provoked from 1989, and it stars Americana from The Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling. It's a freaking awesome movie. It's basically about this couple that just got married and they want to go on their honeymoon, but the husband winds up being taken hostage by terrorists, and it's up to the wife to save her husband because the cops don't do shit, the mayor don't do shit. It's a bad movie, but it has. I could see the message that it had. It's quite interesting, and something I think is is okay. I mean, of course, it's a bad movie, and it's like one of those movies where, you know, everybody on the IMDb only did like one other film. But it's quite interesting and has some great lines. Like one of the newscaster, who's played by porn star Ona Z.
I like Ona Z.
Says,
Ona.
"When do you expect they'll kill your husband?" And the American responds, "That's a stupid question." And another one is when one of the terrorists says, "We're not terrorists, we're professionals." I freaking love that movie. It's so freaking horrible. It has one of the most uncomfortable rape through pants dress scenes that you'd ever want to see in your life. But anyway, I hope you guys are doing well. I've been watching a lot of direct-to-video direct lately. Might want to cover it on my show. So again, hope you guys are doing well. Hopefully I haven't been too annoying for you. And can't wait to see what you review next. So yeah, check out Provoked. It's up on my YouTube channel, Gino's House of Rare Sitcoms. That's youtube.com/Gino the Giant, Geno the Giant. And also check out my Facebook page, facebook.com/official Gino Cuddy. And hope you guys have a great day. And tequila's for everyone. Peace.
Alrighty.
What did he say at the end?
Kill everyone. Peace.
I thought he said something for everyone.
I could play it back if you want.
Yeah, I need to know what he said because I didn't catch the first part. What does he want for everyone?
Let's see. All right.
Hey guys, Gino Cuddy call. And also check out my Facebook page, facebook.com/official Gino Cuddy. And hope you guys have a great day. And tequila's for everyone. Peace.
Tequila's for everyone.
Oh, tequilas. Oh, no, too much tonight already. Thank you.
Yes.
No.
Anyhow. All right, everyone. Thank you for joining us. As always, episode 242 of Moviesucktastic. Please go to our website. Please go to our website at Moviesucktastic.com. Listen to the show there, right from the audio player that's embedded into it. Watch us live every Thursday at 8 o'clock. Join us. Hang out. It's very cool. We think you'll enjoy it. You can go to iTunes and you can listen to the show there as well, or you can download it for your device that you listen to shit on. Leave a review if you're there. We do appreciate that. Also, if you want to email us, the address is themovieguys@moviesucktastic.com. If you want to leave us voicemail, 908-514-4470. You can go to our Tumblr page at moviesucktastic.tumblr.com. You can go to our Facebook page at facebook.com/moviesucktastic. We post a lot of stuff there, everything from trailers to news to whenever we're going live and what we're going to do. You can download the 100% free app for your Android device. You can listen to the show, or you can't listen to the show there. I haven't embedded that yet. Oh, actually, no, you can listen to the show there. What am I talking about? You can listen to the show there. You can look at movie posters of the movies, the web. Everything that I mentioned is in the app. It's very cool. There's a mobile version of the website as well, which today I came across some HTML5 players that I need to do so that you can listen to the show from the mobile site. That is coming. I know I've been saying that for a while, but it's actually going to happen. Other than that, I'm done. Do you have anything, Mr. Wilson? Any words of wisdom?
Doodles do not have sex with noise.
There you go. All right, everyone. We'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
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 Eh.
Stupid movies.